Hey all, Scott here. One man's trash is another man's f***ing garbage.
What makes a video game a good deal? Well, it's subjective. I don't know why you wrote Big Fangs, but I can't say you're wrong. But it's good to know your limits, what the bare minimum kind of product you'd buy at a certain price is. If I'm gonna buy a game for $70, well, it's gotta have this, or I'm not budging. But many don't seem to understand how just because they won't buy anything with the letter B in it, that doesn't mean I abide by their logic. Either way, I'm safe. It's entirely up to each individual how they spend their money. If you want to buy The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 5, yeah, I mean, there's worse ways to spend $70.
Here, take my money.
So then what do I consider good deals and bad deals in gaming? Well, to truly understand, we need examples, and if we don't get examples, we'll make examples. After over a decade of $60 being the norm for the standard blockbuster video game, with the introduction of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles, we saw that price increase by $10. Oh no, my gordita crunch money! Hey, listen, I ain't opposed to $70 video games, or how much time you get out of these things, and that's still a fine value. It cost me $15 to see Dumbo, and I still haven't made back that investment. But the games they chose to be some of the first with that standardized price,
it's the same goat I've seen every day for a nickel. I'll give him 9,000 today.
You'd expect games like Forza Horizon 5, Resident Evil Village, Guardians of the Galaxy, Elden Ring to maybe be $70, but no. Demon's Souls, a remake of a PlayStation 3 game from 2009 that launched at $60, a part of the same lineup of games from the same developer as Elden Ring, which retailed at $60.
Oh, I'm sorry, the chef is out. He made all the sense around here.
Again, $70 games, I'm fine with. I mean, have you seen the prices of games from the 90s? Mortal Kombat Trilogy on Nintendo 64 was $75, and you know why they went lower?
The cash register can't hold that much money.
Well, game prices were the way they were back then due to how much technology had to be crammed into these game cartridges, many of which had unique hardware included in order to achieve maximum, here you go! So, yeah, when you have to specially produce chips to put inside each and every game, that'll drive up the cost. Though with the transition to discs, those you didn't have to do that with. Just order a pack of blank CDs from Big Lots and you're set. Those were cheaper to mass produce, thus games got a fairly standardized price during the PlayStation 2 days of 50 bones. That increased to 60 with the Xbox 360 era, and moving into the PlayStation 5 generation, now we have to pay 70 for some of the biggest $10 games. The Last of Us Part 1, a 2022 remake of a game from 2013 that received a remaster in 2014, retailing for $70 US. Why is this so expensive? Because the toxins released spending $70 are far healthier than burning it. This is what I'd consider to be a bad deal in gaming, all right? Let's just use this chart here to compare all releases of The Last of Us. In 2013, you got the initial release for $60, considered Game of the Year by millions, one of the best stories told in all of gaming, alongside incredibly tightly designed gameplay. And that's just the single-player campaign. You got multiplayer as well, plus a downloadable single-player prequel for an extra $15. The original 2013 release was well worth it in every sense of the word, if you say it really fast. But with the title releasing within the final year of the PlayStation 3's life before the PlayStation 4 took over, those who didn't already have the console weren't super willing to invest in one. Thus, 1 year later, The Last of Us Remastered for PlayStation 4 launched for $50. Improved visuals, frame rate, the DLC is included in the package, free of charge. Plus, there's a new photo mode, features utilizing the PlayStation 4 controller. This isn't the most exciting remaster, but it was a necessary one, giving the PlayStation 4 user base the chance to play one of the greatest games of all time in the most definitive way possible at a discounted price that would continue to drop over time. 8 years later.
This game better look like Satan's worst nightmare. It looks like you just had a bad dream.
The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake of the 2013 game, not a remaster like the 2014 game, and putting them all side by side, wow, you can tell. To be fair, during the cutscenes and other in-game moments, the differences can be more drastic than you think. They truly did rebuild this game, but a lot of the differences feel like just that. Not necessarily an upgrade, just it looks different now. Going from the original PS3 game to Part 1 on PS5 is a huge step up. But from remastered on PS4, like there should have been a bonus feature in part 1, a fucking bird that tells you when something's different. If anything, they took more stuff out with the exclusion of the multiplayer mode. And yes, the game looks better now, but The Last of Us Remastered still looks better than 90% of the games releasing these days, and you can play that on PlayStation 5. And how many times can they keep just enhancing graphics on a game and expect people to care? There's one more pixel on the screen in The Last of Us Part 1 too. Well, there is more content. Yeah, hopefully it's obvious why I think that's a bad deal, though I can understand why some people have no problem spending that kind of cash on this kind of game. What you spend your money on is your own damn business.
Until the government gets involved.
I guarantee the people who complain about this just bought the stupidest goddamn thing ever.
This is why I guarantee it.
Blizzard Arcade Collection. A handful of games developed by Blizzard before they changed their mind on going bankrupt. A solid little retro distraction with some cool bonus features and variations of the games included. They actually went in and created definitive versions of these Super Nintendo games, combining elements from other console versions into one, which is awesome. For $20, this is a great way to play these vintage games. One problem, these games were available for free on Blizzard's website.
Well, not really free. They cost the guilt of not buying the arcade collection.
Now, let's be fair here. The versions of the Lost Vikings and Blackthorn Blizzard has available on their website are the DOS versions, and Rock and Roll Racing is more of a cut-down demo of the full game with loads of content missing. The arcade collection contains the console versions of these games, plus the definitive editions, which have loads of value to them. Plus, later on, they released a free update putting 2 games that aren't on Blizzard's website for free in the collection. I think the initial thought of, oh, they're releasing a collection of games for $20 when they're also offering PC downloads of the games included for free, what a crock, is understandable, but they included a lot more than those free versions ever will. And it's not like they removed the free downloads after they released Arcade Collection, so this, I wouldn't say it's a bad deal, though I wouldn't say it's a necessarily good one either, especially when it initially launched with only 3 titles. I'd say this is wholeheartedly an deal. But that just begs the question, what do I consider a good deal in gaming?
I stole this.
When the Sega Dreamcast was doing really bad, like pretty bad, really bad, a deal was offered where if you signed up for Sega's online service, SegaNet, for $22 a month on a 2-year plan, you'd get a Dreamcast console. You just get one. I mean, you get a free video game console by signing up for a service you'd possibly sign up for once you buy said video game console. It's like, sure, I'll sign up for PlayStation Plus, and then they give you a whole ass PlayStation 5. Like, hey, I wouldn't complain, but this tactic seems backwards. You'd expect if there would be any deal, you'd get the online service for free after buying the console, not getting the console for free after buying the online service. But hey, I'd be an ass for saying this is anything but a good deal. Oh wow, f this guy. It goes without saying though, you can't do a deal like this without vibes of an oh f mentality. And within a few months, Sega announced the deal didn't work. But a good deal is still a good deal, even if it's born out of a company on the verge of bankruptcy. It's our duty as consumers to take advantage of others' misery, even our own. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Anniversary Edition on Nintendo Switch for $70. Here's a picture of that, and here's a picture of something not worth $70.
Oh, this was just a waste of ink.
Forget The Last of Us on PlayStation 5 for $70. How about Skyrim on Switch for that price? I mean, the $70 price transition was pretty much exclusively for those new consoles introduced. The Switch was still sitting pretty with a $60 price cap for most games. But let's roll out the red carpet for another damn version of Skyrim. To be fair, this is a bundle. The base Skyrim game for $60 plus the Anniversary Edition DLC upgrade, which would normally cost $20 standalone. Now only $10 via this method. Now the DLC itself, I mean, this Anniversary Edition originally launched alongside the PS5 and Xbox Series versions of Skyrim in November of 2021, being offered as an upgrade on top of another upgrade. It came to Nintendo Switch out of nowhere a year later and includes new content.
Oh, they ain't kidding.
For $20, this is incredibly weak DLC. It's a bunch of items and gear, some quests. I mean, decent enough add-on content, but for $20? On top of the $60 for the base Skyrim game, which is $10 more than the superior special edition on the other more powerful consoles. An Anniversary Edition doesn't even come alongside any next-gen upgrades like it did on PS5, which kind of warranted the release of Anniversary Edition to begin with. But hey, Anniversary Edition on Switch does improve the graphics slightly, and now the game runs worse than it did without the DLC. God, after that, I need something slightly more positive. Well, I did say slightly. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, a compilation of Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy on Nintendo Switch for $60. Now, due to a lack of bonus features and other games included, many considered this to be overpriced. Well, let's do some math here. When Nintendo sold Nintendo 64 and Wii games on the Wii U's Nintendo eShop, they valued Super Mario 64 at $10 and Super Mario Galaxy at $20. And while they didn't sell GameCube games, we could do some quick math and figure they'd sell Super Mario Sunshine for $15. Nintendo wouldn't do this to me. We're really close. We talk all the time.
Hi, this is Nintendo Customer Support.
Hi, my DS won't turn on.
Well, this price accounts for the baseline, just the game experience for the most part. 3D All-Stars enhances the games. If you squint, Mario 64 got the least attention here. You could compare it to the standalone Wii U release, and that one you could save and load suspend points whenever you wanted. You can't do that here. Though the game looks and controls far better in 3D All-Stars, and it's interestingly based on a Japan-only release of the game, now including Rumble support. Sunshine is now in widescreen with an increased resolution, Galaxy can now be played with a standard controller, and all games can be played portably, which you could warrant a price increase for that. On paper. That's not a feature of the game, that's a feature of the Nintendo Switch. If you list portability as a feature of a Switch game, what are you doing? The Xbox version of this game is more expensive because it has the feature of using an Xbox controller to play it. The bonus content is pitiful in this collection. Basically just the soundtracks of the 3 games, a feature that was included because no thought had to be put into it. At the end of the day, considering everything that's been included and the enhancements to each game, the value of this collection to me is around $50 to $55, which when it retailed for $60, I don't really think that's anything to freak out about. If you're somebody who refuses to pay a couple bucks more than what you think the imaginary value of a product is, you're probably fucking awesome. Which means you would love Gears of War Ultimate Edition on Xbox One, a $40 remaster of Gears of War on Xbox 360.
I only have $5. But I just found out taking out a loan is free!
For a series with 4 entries on the same console, you'd expect to see a Gears of War collection for that price. Just remastering the first game feels like something's missing here. Well, lucky us, Microsoft included the Xbox 360 versions of all these titles for free, playable on Xbox One, even the first game. Oh man, I always wanted to play that! I mean, Gears of War Ultimate Edition is a good remaster, though with how readily available the first game was and how the other games weren't initially included, I'd say this was originally an deal. Though after they ran this promotion, it became a damn good one. It only lasted from August 2015 to December 2015, but hey, if you have a problem with that, take it up with the passage of time. Ha, wanna hear another bad deal in gaming? Mass Effect 3 Special Edition for Wii U. Why did I buy this?
Because it's special. And what makes it special is I f***ed up all by myself.
A launch title for Wii U, the 3rd entry in the Mass Effect series, a series of games that really benefits from playing each entry to move your save file over from one to another. Of course, Mass Effect 1 was only on Xbox 360, so when Mass Effect 2 released on PlayStation 3, they incorporated an interactive comic that enabled you to cruise through an abridged Mass Effect 1 story and make the decisions you would have made that could alter how your story goes in Mass Effect 2. But then they eventually released Mass Effect Trilogy on Xbox 360 and PS3, bundling all games together while also putting Mass Effect 1 out on PlayStation for the first time. That launched during the holiday of 2012 for $59.99. Mass Effect 3 Special Edition launched on Wii U that same holiday for $59.99. Okay, well, it's Special Edition. There's gotta be something special about it. That's not special. Funky Barn's on it too. Sure, you get a new interactive comic. A bunch of the DLC is included, plus the M597 Landon weapon. It's only in the Wii U version.
You know what else is only in the Wii U version? A good reason to buy Mass Effect 3.
But they couldn't bother to price this game at like at least $50? Bringing the trilogy over would take 3 times the work. This game was so cheap on the other platforms because on Xbox 360, it was a matter of putting discs in cases. And on PlayStation 3, they just had to bring over the original Mass Effect and that's it. So I get why this bundle didn't come to Wii U. But why was it the same damn price? Ooh, well, Wii U gamepad functionality. Yeah, because doing this playing Mass Effect 3 feels badass.
The button hurt my finger.
That's not to say the Wii U had no good deals. Take a look at Bayonetta 2. That launched with the entire first game on a disc included for free. And they had to port the whole game to Wii U. It's not like Mass Effect Trilogy where they just threw the old discs in the package. No, they just understood how Bayonetta 1 was never on Nintendo platforms, and with Bayonetta 2 being a Wii U exclusive, well, what better way to sell people on that than include the first game for free. Okay, well, I'm out of ideas. They continued this tradition when the game was re-released on Nintendo Switch, this time with a download code for Bayonetta 1 included. Will always be a good deal. I mean, 16 characters included for free? Best I could do is 15. Nintendo Land included in the Wii U Deluxe set? That's a $60 value for only $50 more than the basic one. Getting one of 4 free games with Mario Kart 8 around launch, the titles like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Yoshi's Woolly World, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze all retailing for less than $60? Nintendo was handing out some pretty solid deals during this generation. But then, it happened. In the era of the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo wasn't too interested in cutting consumers a deal. Case in point, the Switch version of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. $50 on Wii U when it released as a brand new video game, discounted to $20 in 2016. Nintendo Switch version releases in 2018 for $60.
What did they add to this version? The goddamn Pope? Okay, so what's the problem again?
Well, outside of a new playable character, Funky Kong, which is basically just an easy mode, Tropical Freeze on Switch features less choppy loading screens when entering a level and a new snout. $60! They should charge monthly for this! Tropical Freeze is truly one of the greatest games of all time. The Nintendo Switch version is the best out there. And in a vacuum, it's worth $60. There is $60 worth of an experience here, but when it launched at $50 and was discounted to $20, and then this version comes out at $60 with barely anything new added, I'm sorry. It feels like these companies try to lure you in with a good deal, then eventually just rip everything from you because, they already gotcha. PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold. You'd sign up for these to play online multiplayer, but as a bonus, you'd get free games every month. For $60 a year, most people were okay with that for online multiplayer alone. Adding a handful of free games on top of that? That's just icing on the cake. The cake is nails. Yeah, that price for online multiplayer alone is a bit much, which is why all these incentives are being thrown in to keep customers happy. Like removing the need for an Xbox Live Gold subscription to access Netflix on Xbox consoles. That's incentive. But I'll gladly take a few free games a month for doing nothing. Look at this lineup of content from the month of March in 2020. The Batman the Enemy Within, Shantae Half Genie Hero, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, Sonic Generations? According to Xbox, that's nearly $100 worth of value. Hell, if they offer just these games for the year, you're making your money back on the Xbox Live investment. Damn, if that's the kind of deal we got in March of 2020, then what about in November of 2022?
Thank you?
It's really hard to complain considering you're paying for online multiplayer and the games are a bonus, but what the hell is this? Obviously, a service like Xbox Game Pass is where a lot of the real value lies. I mean, access to hundreds of games for a monthly price. I'm not specifying because it depends on where you sign up for the service. Buy a ton of Pop-Tarts, it's free.
But that's what it comes down to. Do you value what the product is giving enough to warrant paying what they're asking for? Or do you just want to slime yourself around the price? The value of games is completely subjective. Just because I don't find a game to be a good deal doesn't mean you should or shouldn't buy them. Hell, you can find a game to be a bad deal and still buy it. As long as you have the money to spend and your reasoning is, I want that, that's all you really need. But it's still interesting to dissect what you personally find to be worth it. So I ask you to think about it yourself. What do you think is a good or bad deal in gaming? And before you say Nintendo customer support is a bad deal, they hung up on me for the 5th time today asking to replace my DS. I know.